We are here with the great Fawn Weaver. Those of you who like to sip on some whiskey, you know Uncle Nearest, the brand. It's $1 billion brand. This woman built it from scratch, but she had the foundation of Nearest Green and the family behind her and the ancestors and the land and all of that.
Yeah.
In her book, she chronicles that. So you get to learn her story, love, and whiskey, as well as the story of Nearest Green and how that all happened. But your story is so compelling, Fawn Weaver, because there's no excuses. I feel like not just
Zero.
that this country is the best country in the world, but the opportunities are here. We can sit and complain about racism and sexism, which we do. We're going to do that because we needed to go away. But in the midst of it, the successes that we can have, and those of you who are listening on Urban View, this is a special audience. You know what I'm talking about. And Fawn Weaver, Amber Cabral, we are all examples of what the possibilities are.
Let me tell you, I actually have to disagree with you on one statement.
Okay.
I do believe, having traveled the world, this is the greatest country in the world. It is the only country that a story like mine exists, a story like yours exists, a story like Amber's exists. Everywhere else, you would have to start with something. It's either you are from an aristocratic family in certain countries, or you're a part of a certain level of the caste system in other countries. But you have to begin with something. In other countries, you don't begin with nothing and make it. The reason why they are pouring over our borders from every country around the world, which I don't even want to start because that's such a security risk. That's a whole other conversation. But the reason they are pouring over our borders by the thousands a day is because people from every corner of the world know that America is the one place that you can start with nothing and build something. And so we are absolutely tremendous. And even when you look at the story of Nearest Green, immediately following the Civil War, he had more money than his white neighbors. How does that happen? And so, and then you look at his children and his grandchildren and how they rose to the top of the Freemasons. And I mean, it just is, it with all of our flaws, and Lord knows we have a lot. I will put our flaws up to the flaws of other countries any day of the week. Everybody talks about our healthcare system and we need to fix it. But let me tell you something. What I don't want is one of the countries that have it built in, but they take 70% of my money. That's what I don't want.
Okay. You say it with your full chest. Listen, I'm listening. Ali Velshi is going to be on. We're doing a town hall with him next week, and his book, just finished. And he's talking about Toronto and how Toronto was built welcoming people on this notion of multiculturalism and how powerful it is to have people from all walks of life. And I was just, kind of thinking about in this country, when people come to this country, they come to black neighborhoods to build their wealth. So, and everybody knows that's where you can come. Even Nikki Haley's mama, her father had to get a job at an HBCU and her mother had a dress shop in the black neighborhood. And people come and they make their money off of us because somehow, even when we have nothing, we have everything. And people know you can build with black people. So yeah. It's kind of one of these things that it's like everybody comes to build with us. Why aren't we building for ourselves? Absolutely. Well, we have historically, but racism, terrorism, Rosewood, Greenwood, it all gets upended. So this Lynchburg story is fascinating to me because it survived. It wasn't Wilmington, North Carolina. It survived.
And it left us a blueprint for how to do this, how to just say, you know what, you have your racism over there, we're not going to allow that over here. And you see a town that continues to flourish all these years later. I mean, we're talking about a story that's 160, 170 years old, and that town to this day, I mean, I literally was just down there and I'm hugging the sheriff, who used to be my gardener, by the way. So yeah. And and high-fiving the police force that's in full tactical gear, which makes me laugh because don't nothing ever happen in Lynchburg. I just feel like they got the gear and they feel the need to wear the gear, but don't nothing happen there. Like Love somebody gets put in jail and the whole town literally makes food for them. So I just
Wow. All right. So Fawn Weaver's here. You're going to be out in them streets. Are you doing book signings? Because people want to,
I am the Love and Whiskey Unfiltered tour. Every stop, and I've already done 7 stops. The last 2 stops, I only have one stop that's not sold out, is Portland, on Monday, but St. Louis is already sold out. And then I am, as soon as that ends, I host stuff in the Vineyard every August. So we're there doing just like, welcoming people and all the rest of that fun stuff. And then come September, I kick off Love and Whiskey in the UK and get back on
Ooh,
the road.
come
And
on.
yeah,
And you
yeah.
guys can go to loveandwhiskeybook.com, loveandwhiskeybook.com. Okay. I'm fascinated with this road to Damascus, because Paul is one of my least favorite people in the Bible for a lot of reasons. But he had a moment. He was killing Christians, and then something happened. He went blind, and then he could see, and then everything changed. He became a crusader, much like when people quit smoking. For you, coming out of the homeless shelters, waitressing, you're out in the streets, you're doing things. What was the moment that led Fawn Weaver to this path?
Yes. So I'm going to go, if you're okay with it, I want to go back and at least wrap up the story about the property, because there
Okay.
is an assumption that we came to all of this with money and not understanding. No, we came to this having just been lost almost everything, not everything. We still had our house, but we lost a whole lot coming into this, and we had almost nothing in the bank. But the door opened. And so we made the offer. But here's the thing, the property that was on the market for 1.4, and it's a town called Lynchburg, so it was easily the most expensive property up until that point. It's on the market at 1.4, but someone in town, who's now my brother from another mother, but will tell you he is a self-proclaimed redneck, and Chuck Baker said, I know the people who own this. They're just looking for the right people for this property, and they don't want certain people to buy it, so they keep raising the price. But if you offer them 900 cash, they'll take it. Well, we didn't have 900 cash. But you know what we did? We offered them 900 cash because the door was open for us. And so that prayer was, if it's not for us, close the door. What it does is it means either the money that we need is going to show up before it is needed, or the door is going to close. So we said, you know what? Let's make the offer. We made the offer, and that was beginning of September. The realtor comes back to us and says they're an older couple. They're going to need extra time to leave. They would like to know if you would give a 90-day escrow. And what they would like as the earnest money is $9,000.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. That's an open door.
So that is, my life is a series of just go through the door and believe that whatever I need is going to show up on the other side. And if it doesn't show up, then close door, move to the next one. But I could have, and I think most people in that situation would have talked themselves out of it and said, I don't have the money, I can't do it, yada, 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 yada. And then this story doesn't exist. So that's that piece. My Damascus moment, and what allows me to do something like that and to think like that, is when I was 20 years old, I tried to commit suicide, not once, but twice. It's in the book, of course. And the second time I attempted to commit suicide, it didn't work. But I remember very clearly being in the hospital bed, and they had a tube down my nose and they were pumping charcoal into my stomach. The same exact thing that we used to filter Uncle Nearest was being pumped into my stomach to filter my stomach and to keep me alive. And I remember being on that bed and making two very clear decisions. The first decision was that I was going to discover what my purpose in life was and why I was here. And I never thought that my purpose was a thing. I still don't. I believe it's a being. It is me. So how am I supposed to live out my life to fully live out my purpose? That was the first decision, is I was going to figure out what that was. And I spent the next 6 months, I didn't go to the movies, I didn't go out to dinner, I didn't watch TV, I didn't listen to the radio, I didn't listen to music. I did nothing but study the Bible and every accompanying book that I thought would help me understand what could bring me to a place of trying to commit suicide, and then what would take me to the next place, which was living out the rest of my life, fulfilling my purpose. So that was my first decision. My second decision, in that moment, laying in that bed after I had tried to take myself out twice, was if I couldn't take me out, nobody could take me out. And I was going to live my life with the understanding that no one but God could take me out. And I've lived the rest of my life with freedom. And if I don't pack to get on the road, I'm going to miss my flight.
Okay. Okay. All right. We got people that had questions or whatever. Y'all gonna have to find Fawn Weaver in them streets. Fawn, thank you for always being available to come when you can. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Karen. And I promise y'all, Amazon, Barnes, wherever you order it, if you get Love and Whiskey, your answers are in the book.
My days are cooler, nights are warmer, and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow, but my heart beats faster. When these eyes are looking right at you, right at you. You give me something to believe in, just what I needed. You're the closest.